Hi, I'm Jen Ailey, and today I'm going to share with you a workshop called Effective Strategies to Create and Grow Consistent Income. So today you're going to shift, in this workshop, you're going to shift your perception of income generation forever. You'll have new shifts in mindset, and you'll be inspired to create new habits that lead to creating more consistent income. So the first half of the workshop is going to be mind-blowing mindset shifts, and the second half is going to be about tools such as and strategies and practices, basically. And those are all about habits as well. So you'll leave inspired to be and clear on what you want to do next and how to create more income. So to give you a sense of where I'm coming from, in 2003, I started my first business as a life coach, and I avoided my finances significantly. And I ended up filing bankruptcy a few years later. Money's been a huge teacher for me, and I have had about 7 or 8 businesses, depending on what you define as business, because some of that was freelancing. And I bootstrapped a jewelry design business in 2012 here in Asheville, North Carolina, and later with support. And I did that with lots of support from mentors and learning things along the way. And I tripled my income in 3 years with no debt, actually. So in 2020, I sold the assets of my jewelry business after 9 years to do this coaching full time, which I had been doing part time. So I'm all about helping people to be successful in business, and I know the ups and downs as well. So, all right. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that you can increase your income by at least 30% in the next 90 days? So just write that number down right now. And I'm not going to be sharing slides in this workshop. You should have a 2-page handout that looks something like this. So that's the first page, and the second page is this one. So you should have that in front of you if you printed it out, or you can also just take notes if you'd like. You will need paper and pen or somewhere to write during this workshop. It's experiential for sure. Okay, so write down that answer. So the scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that you could increase your income by 30% or more in the next 90 days? All right, just notice that number. We'll come back to it later. So why mindset first? So there's a quote by Brene Brown that says, "What is the narrative getting in the way of this skill set?" So oftentimes there's something, sort of a story or a narrative running in the back of our minds that is keeping us from doing things that can move us forward and create more income and more impact. So we're coming from a place of possibility, not the past or fear. One of my favorite quotes is by Dr. Michael Beckwith. He says, "Pain pushes until vision pulls." So a lot of times we feel like we have to create income, but if your vision is leading you, it can come from not the pain point of, not having enough or being afraid of not having enough, but a vision of actually what you want to create and what that looks like. And Mary Morrissey says, "You can't get to your dream, you must come from it." So instead of chasing something, accessing the feeling of being there and envisioning it, and that helps you tap into it by coming from it instead of trying to get there. And so we're going to do an exercise right now about vision and your vision. So I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. So go ahead and get your paper and pen or whatever it is that you want to write with and get ready. Okay, so the first question is, when all of your needs and wants are met in your business, what does it look like? So not just like I'm making it, but like you're thriving. So when all your needs and wants are met, what does your business look like? Just write a few sentences about this. So once you have that one down, you can pause if you need more time. The next question is, why do you want it? So why do you want to create that vision? That, why that? Why do you want to create it? Why? There's a billion different things you can do in the world. So why this thing? Okay. And then ask yourself, so the answer to that question of why do you want it? Why is that important? Why is that important to you? And the next question is, what would it give you? So what would fulfilling and living in this vision give you? There's two more questions. How would your life be different from now when you're living your vision? So you can also answer that. I can ask it a different way. What are some specific ways your life would be different when you're living that vision and comparing it to now to then? What you see in that future when all your wants and needs are met versus from this moment. So what do you just notice about what's different? And the last question for now is, how would you living this vision and this vision being fulfilled, how would it impact others? So the others can be people close to you or people in general in the world who are impacted by your business or work. So how would this impact others? What is the ripple effect on others from your vision? Just for a second, tune into the feeling of coming from that vision. So thinking about what it is you want to create, tapping into it and kind of feeling into answers those questions, not thinking about all the details right now, but just what do you feel in your body when you imagine that it's fulfilled? Not what you have to do to get there, but just like, okay, it's done. And just notice that. And you can write down on the side of your paper or something, just really tuning into that feeling. And that feeling is where you're coming from to create your vision. So just notice that. And sometimes it's helpful to take that word or that phrase or something of that feeling and putting it somewhere that you're going to see it often, so you can kind of tap into that and tune into that as an inspiration and motivator. So to become the person you need to be to create your vision fully, you need two things. The first is commitment. So a vision or a dream is a nice idea. It's just a fantasy though, unless there's commitment behind it. So commitment is the bridge that connects the vision to the results. So that middle part there is commitment. So a vision is just a declaration. So a vision is a declaration to cause something in the future that is inspiring, meaningful, deep, rich, purposeful, and transformational. So, or transformative. It's a future that brings out the best in who you are and your best self. So with commitment, your vision expands and ripples out from you into the world. Commitment shows up in your actions. And without commitment, it's just an idea. It's a dream. It's just a vision. So notice right now, and you can just notice what the first number is that comes to you. How committed do you feel to your vision and creating it? From 0 to 100%. And one of my mentors says 100% committed is easy, and 100% committed is easy, but 99% is a pain. So I want to encourage you to just breathe into and step into like 10% more commitment towards your vision. Like whatever that looks like. What would it take to just feel into like the next level of commitment to your vision? And not just like you fulfilling your part of it, but also the impact you're going to have on others. Because you started your business for a reason, and that reason is important. So you stepping into recommitting to it. And this is a constant practice for us as entrepreneurs, right? So even the days when it's hard, like, okay, I'm going to do this. What can I do today? And every day doesn't look the same by any means. So the next one is the second thing you need to become the person you need to be to create your vision is growth. So there's a quote by Marie Forleo. She says, the faster you leave your comfort zone, the faster you'll see growth. So being willing to learn, grow, and stretch outside your comfort zone to create something different than you already have is growth. So, and most entrepreneurs put most of their energy into the work that they do and not so much into the business aspects. And I know that's why you're here taking this workshop, something that can help you grow your business. So growing into areas you're uncomfortable with or not as confident in. So let's start by looking at where you are confident. So just write down some areas of your business. You're like, yeah, I got this, I got that, I got this. And so all the areas could be, so your product, your service, your systems, your offerings, your pricing, your let's see, administrative systems and processes, the support and accountability you have, the strategies you have in place, the marketing, the sales. There's so many different areas that you can, you can be confident in. And if you have an art business, if it's your craft, if you have a service that you're offering, then it's like, the thing that you're offering, the service. If you have products you're selling, if you have confidence in your team, if you have a team. So what are the areas you are confident in so far? So just listing some of those out. And then ask yourself, what are the areas you need to develop to create a breakthrough to the next level of your business? So what are the areas specifically that that would make a huge impact for you? I know at one point when I first started my jewelry business in Asheville, I knew I needed to get marketing support for online. So I did. And I know that sometimes people come to me as a coach because they want to get their money stuff dialed in and figure out how to make more money and move forward with that. Or they want to up their marketing game or leverage what their offerings are in their business so they can create more passive income and more freedom. So what are the areas you want to develop to create a breakthrough? So what areas do you need to learn or get support or stretch into to feel more confident overall for your business? So again, that could be with finances, marketing, sales, visibility, pricing, strategy, systems. There's so many areas. There's so many hats that we all wear. So I want you to circle or underline one of those. The one that stands out the most, the one that's like, yeah, this will make a big difference. It's a quote by James Clear, author of Atomic Habits. He says, your current habits are perfectly designed to deliver your current results. Your life bends in the direction of your habits. So habits are a big deal. And we're going to talk more about the practical side in a few minutes. Okay, so the next section is about owning your value. Oprah says, when you undervalue what you do, the world will undervalue who you are. And Sue Bryce, a photographer, says, you can't sell something you don't value. So owning your value includes pricing your work for profit, whether it's a service or a product, getting confident in the offer that you bring, and exceeding client expectations by over-delivering in the area of value. One of my favorite customer service motto that I have and say often is under promise, over deliver. So always making an effort to over deliver from what you've said you will give. And value, you know, can be in how you serve people, not just what it is, but how you offer it and how you give it to people. And the impact it makes, short-term or long-term, on people's lives. Okay. So another piece here is about a long game perspective. So not just short-term, but a long-term, long game perspective. So seeing business as a long game and making choices from that perspective as well, not just like immediate gratification or outcomes, but also long-term, and interacting with people from that place. So a couple of examples are, one is not selling something to someone they're not ready for. And I'm sure you all don't do this, but I just want to value and state the value of really serving the person first, and then, you know, thinking of the long-term connection with that potential client or customer. There are people that I've told they're not ready for coaching to come back later when they are ready, and might make some suggestions in the meantime. And there are people in my jewelry practice that I had my jewelry business when they were not, I couldn't give them what they wanted, so I would refer them to another artist. So that's a big deal. It sounds simple, but thinking about long-term, how can you serve people and build relationships for long-term connections with people and long-term customer relationships? Okay. The next piece is about creating a sustainable model of business. There's a Stuart Wald quote that says, the only way you can increase security is to nurture yourself. So not creating a model of business that will lead to burnout for you. So creating a model of business that's aligned for you so that you don't create what you don't want. So people have been coming to me more often in the last few years with burnout and looking for ways to up-level their business and structure their business that's more sustainable for their lives and not so conducive to burnout. And, you know, this connects to the vision you have and the reality of the vision on the ground in the future. Like, and sometimes people don't do the math. Like if you want to make this much money in your business, what will that take? How many of this or that do you have to sell, or how many hours of your time? So looking at like what your vision is like and what your daily life is like on the ground of this vision. What does that look like? And, how much do you want to work? And how can you provide the most value with leverage and innovation, including alignment and creating value? So, how much do you need to charge to meet your income goal, and what does that look like? So really looking at the model of your business as it evolves into your vision and being clear as you can on the details of that. And don't be afraid to do the math, basically. I talked to a business counselor years and years ago who said that somebody came to him wanting to start a coffee shop, and how much money he wanted to make as a salary from it. And they did the math, and the guy was like, never mind. So you want to do the math so you don't spend tons of time and energy and effort creating something that doesn't work for you. So do the math. Okay. So now we're going to see something about, see what's in the way, if anything's in the way of your vision. And so all of the parts of you are aligned. So one of the things I like to look at is secondary gains. There's a quote by Dr. Eva Eger. She's a Holocaust survivor who has these amazing philosophies and wisdom to offer, and she's written a few books. And she says, every behavior satisfies a need. It's very important to look for secondary gains. So everything you're doing or choosing is giving you something. So knowing what that something is helps you seeing the advantage of it, may help you understand why you're choosing it and how to choose something else. So, looking at the question of what is the advantage of staying where you've been, so kind of like, why bother to create the vision and move forward? And the part of you may not want to, a part of you may be like, no, I'm cool where I'm at. I don't want to have to do that or deal with that or take that risk or stretch into that thing and learn that thing or risk failing or risk success even. That's also a thing people don't talk about as often. So, this secondary gain that we're receiving, this behavior that we're doing now is our comfort zone. And it may be that you've come a long way in your business and that you have learned a lot, you've gained a lot, you've grown a lot, and that you're here and you were there and you've come a long way. And this right now where you are is still your comfort zone in a way. And I know you're here to learn more and to grow. So you're stepping outside of that by even just being here. So yeah. So the question is, are you willing to make your vision more important than your secondary gains? So that's the question to ask yourself. And if so, I have some tips on how to actually do that in the next section here. Okay. So part 2 of the workshop is now we're going to move to the 3 most important habits to create and grow consistent income. So here's a question that helps catalyze this beginning of this section here. What are you not doing yet that would make the biggest impact in your business? So what is it that you could do that would make an impact, but you're not doing it yet? So what are you not doing yet that would make the biggest impact in your business? So just jot it down. And, people talk a lot about, building or growing or manifesting something to the future. And the thing is, like, if you don't have a garden with seeds and you're nurturing it and it's getting sun and water, nothing's going to grow. And you can't have something grow and harvest if you haven't watered it and nurtured it along the way. So it's all about setting up the circumstances from which your vision can grow and sprout. So some of these things I'm about to share are setting yourself up to create the circumstances from which your business can grow and thrive. James Clear again says, your results are a lagging measure of your habits. And, I mentioned before that quote from Brene Brown that says, what is the narrative getting in the way of your skill set? So now we're getting into the skill set part. We've talked about the narrative some, and now we're going to go into the skill set. And James Clear also talks about the difference between motion and action. So motion is planning, strategizing, learning, reflecting. It's like the part, if you're going to go on a trip, it's the part where you're like looking at the map, you're figuring out where you want to go, you're looking at the weather, you're seeing what kind of hotel you can stay in. And that's the motion piece. But the action is you're actually getting in your car and driving to somewhere. So action is the behavior that will deliver an outcome. And I think a lot of times we're like in our heads a lot as entrepreneurs, like what you should be doing or what we could be doing, and we only have limited time for how much action we can do. So just noticing where you're in motion in your business and where you're in action. And this is going to shift into more action if you follow through with some of the things I'm about to share with you. Okay, so the first piece here is all about your relationship with money. So we all have a relationship with money, and that's our money relationship and our money habits. So, a big thing is to have clarity on how much money you're bringing in, how much money you're spending, and on what your profit margin is, what are your short-term projections of your income and expenses, what is your long-term vision for your money, and moving into manifesting and so thinking about your long-term vision at different levels of income. So that's a big one. There's an Einstein quote that talks about imagination being a preview of coming attractions. And so I'm a big fan of not just doing the numbers from where they are now, but also like thinking about your relationship with money long term and like making plans with it, so to speak, and visioning. So another big one is separating business and personal accounts. And I know that sounds simple, but it's a big deal because, not only is it better for taxes to have something separate for your business, but it's also you saying that this is a separate thing from you and you are going to honor it, and then you're going to pay yourself from that account. It's a different relationship with it when you do that. And one thing I recommend is a fluctuating income account. So creating an account, so when you do have ebb and flows, which we all do, figuring out when you have, so let's say your expenses are here, this is how much you need to have everything, your needs met for the month. And then some months you're here and some months you're here. So when you have a fluctuating income account, it means you put money away for when it's here, that money goes into an account so that when you're here, you have the gap to fill. So that's something I recommend as an aside there. Okay. So I'm a big fan of looking at how much money you have coming in, and I'm gonna share a spreadsheet. Okay, so I'm going to share my Excel spreadsheet here as an example of a tool you can use to create a plan for generating income. So, and this is something that you can do, in your own way, but I'm just going to share what works for me. So basically, an income generating activity is something that is moving toward producing income, and some people call them money inspiring actions. It's an action leading toward income that is specific and time bound. Okay. So, and it helps you prioritize income generation. If you have tons of money and your thing is that you need more time, then you don't have to do these necessarily. But if you want to generate more income in your business and more growth, then it's important to do this. And I recommend doing it when your business slows down and I recommend doing marketing or income generating activities or IGAs when things are slower. Okay, so here's an example of what the month looks like here. Here's the income for this business. Here's some possible income coming in. And I kind of mixed up the business pieces here just for an example. The 30-day goal for this business is 10,000, and then the projected income are these things. So between the income coming in for sure, the probable income, and the 30-day goal, there's a difference left of 2,000. So then this is $2,000 I need to generate, right? So the action steps are the income generating activities. So here's an example: contact 3 leads, and you could have that being 3 different steps if you wanted to. And then by when? So, okay, I'm going to do that by the 2nd of May in this case at 5 p.m. So schedule a class, and maybe it means promote the class, could be another step. Create a special offer. Interact on Instagram for 5 hours. That's a big step. Or maybe it's an hour a day or something. Watch a video on AI to learn more about how to use it for marketing. So here are some examples of action steps. So they're all things that are either moving towards sales or marketing. And you can, it can also be like just contacting people, reaching out to people, following up with previous leads, following up and connecting with current or past clients. And then over here, there's a section for stretch action steps. So basically, these are things that are like next level stretch for you outside your comfort zone. So asking yourself about doing these things helps you think of new ideas. And one is like this is an idea for artists, calling a big gallery they want to be in, following up with so-and-so, an opportunity of some kind, create a new big work, ask for support, schedule support, do bookkeeping, to see where you're at and to clarify what you want to create. Some people see that as an income generating activity, some don't, but it is nurturing your money relationship. So it's up to you. How do you define it? I mean, you can create your own list of money affirmations here that support you, that uplift you. Yeah, so you'll get this. And then the second sheet here is a visioning sheet where you are putting in your ideal income plan. So basically, whatever it is that you feel like, and I have an insert here of comments, those little red tags. So one way to do this activity is to list out your income sources and go at least 20% higher than your current level. So and you can do this any format you want, but the idea is that first you're saying, here's how much money I want to make. Here's what I would spend it on, or here's where the money is coming from. And then here is 30 to 50% higher of your current income. And here is 50 to 200%. So basically the goal is to look at how much money you have now coming in per month, per year average, per month average, whatever. And then looking at what would you do with 20% more money? What would you do with 30 to 50% more money? What would you do with 100 and 200 times more money? So it helps you vision and feel into, okay, I would give to this cause. I would invest in this for my business. I would hire this person to help me with this. I would take this course to learn this. I would travel. I would give this to my so-and-so, So like, what would you do with the money? Because this is a preview of coming attractions and you tuning into what you would possibly get. It helps you come from your vision more, from your dream more. All right. So some other ideas for income generating ideas, IGAs, are working on strategic alliances or collaborations with other colleagues, other businesses, other complementary businesses, for example. Networking is IGA, especially if you do it strategically and you have follow-up and connections that you make with people. Visibility with strategy. So being visible through marketing, through teaching, through networking with a strategy behind it, not just doing it for doing its sake. Referrals, having a referral system, creating a referral system, generating passive income. So focusing on the question of how can you create more passive income or create passive income and increase that so that you're not working so much for time and for money. And, so I recommend brainstorming a bunch of ideas of ways to generate income. So a bunch of IGAs for your business where it's at now. So that's a big deal, So, okay. So James Clear also says a habit must be established before it can be improved. So for those of us who are perfectionists, it's like, how do you, just get this habit of focusing on income generating activities? Maybe you do it once a week. Maybe you do it for 10 minutes a day, maybe you do it once a month. But yeah, so creating that habit in whatever form works for you. Okay, so the next section is all about optimizing your systems. So James Clear again says goals are good for setting a direction, but systems are best for making progress. So, you say you're going to do this thing, move toward it, but unless you have a system in place to support that, it's the scaffolding for the building, and it helps you make progress. So right now, I want you to think about in your business so far. If your business is brand new, just brainstorm possibilities here. But if you've had your business for a while, make a list of the top 3 ways you've gotten clients so far. So the 3 ways that you've gotten clients so far, the most clients probably. And it doesn't have to be a scientific research piece here, just like off the top of your head, you probably know. Is it foot traffic? Is it events? Is it referrals? Is it Google? Is it, from an SEO, from a blog on your website? Is it, where have you gotten the most clients? And then you can plug so you can leverage what's already been working. So you take what has already been working and you create systems around those things to leverage what's already working. So basically, for example, if most of your clients come from referrals, you could improve your referral system if you don't have one, especially by focusing on rewarding people who give you clients. I know some businesses can't do that if you're like a doctor or something, but you can send people a thank you letter or note. And you can, some people can give gifts, and you could give a gift card or give away some kind of, I've seen this before, have a monthly or quarterly raffle for all the people who sent you referrals for the quarter or the month. So yeah, so that kind of thing, or giveaway, I don't think you can call it a raffle. So the idea of you, taking whatever thing is working and, focusing on making it even more efficient and more effective as a system. If you get leads from Google, it could be that you spend, half an hour a week, or have your staff do half an hour a week on interacting with and creating content for your Google page so that, Google knows that you're active, or just posting weekly even, or getting reviews, So think about the 3 top ways and how can you make those even more effective and optimized. Other systems that are relevant to this are your money habit systems, as we talked about, your IGA systems, and your marketing systems, and your sales systems, and your administrative systems. So, any of those areas that can help streamline your business more effectively is a significant boost to, making progress and where you want to go and prioritizing growth in your business. So I have two more quotes by James Clear. If you haven't read Atomic Habits yet, I highly recommend it. People think what they need is intensity, but what they really need is consistency. So if you feel like you should do some big, huge thing for your business in the future, that may work. But, and sometimes it's like, oh, if I had this much money, I would do this thing, that may work. But the thing is, like, if you put energy into optimizing what you have already and leveraging the best of what you have and, really making progress in these areas, that consistency is growth. There's a quote by one of my mentors that says, or my mentors, I've heard this from a trickle down from a lot of mentors about how if you are on the shore of North America, on the East Coast, and you head east in a ship and you change your trajectory by 1 degree, you can end up on a different continent than originally planned. So, over that distance from North America to Africa or Europe, your trajectory is shifting. So just a 1 degree adds up over time. So this consistency piece is a big deal. And, thinking about the long term too, like reaching out to people, even if they don't respond, like they're still going to get a ping about like, oh, so-and-so does this thing, and they're staying in touch with me. Or sometimes people are like, oh yeah, I've been meaning to contact you. I've been meaning to come in and bring this in or whatever it is, and here's the next quote. You can't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. So the systems piece is really huge, like letting yourself put energy into your system so that you can create consistency. All right, so I'm going to ask you now to commit to one action step. So I've given you a lot of possibilities here of what you can focus on, what you can do. It can be about clarifying money stuff, visioning, doing weekly or daily or monthly income generating activities, focusing on a new system. So just pick one right now and just say, okay, this is what I want to focus on. And I want you to put it in your calendar when you're going to do it. So like, okay, when is this going to happen? Yeah. And it's even better if you can have some accountability. So telling someone in your life, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm going to call you or text you afterwards and tell you that I did it, so that way that you have this external accountability too, depending on how your personality works. All right. And so make sure that with that thing you're committing to, make sure there's a specific action. And if it's a big project, just commit to a certain amount of time. Say it's like 3 hours this next week or something like that. And then have a deadline for it or a time frame that you're going to complete it by. All right. So to recap, we've talked about vision. We talked about fully committing to your vision. We talked about stepping into growth. We talked about relationship with money and creating income generating activities and optimizing your systems to make sure all that happens. So I hope you've had some mindset shifts. You feel inspired, you're motivated to grow, and you're ready to take action. And I hope that your number from 1 to 10 on how confident you feel in increasing your income by 30% or more in the next 90 days has increased. So write your number down and be aware. And good luck with all this. All right, take care.